It's hard to do this over Discord when we're not. There's like that much delay, and then so it's gonna sound discordant all over the place.
It's hard to do this over.
It's hard to do this.
It's hard to do.
It's hard to.
It's hard.
It's.
It. So yeah.
So we got 2 bits out of our way within the first minute.
What kind of 2-bit podcast do you think we are?
I was watching a video recently where they were going through Adam Savage's prop shed, I guess, where he keeps all like his movie memorabilia and things he's made. And among his collection was like one of the first IBM components from one of the first IBM computers. And he was holding a vacuum tube that was 1 bit.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, basically, all 1 bit is whether something's turned on or off.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. And it's not really so much, is it on or off, or is it high voltage or low voltage?
Right.
Because you can't really turn it all the way off.
While the computer's running, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right. But point is, either the vacuum tube served as a valve that was either open or shut. It was either letting stuff through or not.
Yes or no.
Exactly. True or false. And suppose you had to have like about 4 of them to do a 4-bit anything. You had to have a whole wall of them if you wanted to do more than 4 bits of anything.
And nowadays, I am the operator of my pocket calculator.
That my teachers in high school told me I wouldn't have.
Or need. Which,
It's like, no, I do not have a TI-83 in my pocket at all times.
your
I have
TI-83
something significantly
plus.
more powerful.
you have to have your TI-83 Plus.
Funny thing is,
Silver edition that has like 10 times the amount of RAM.
I have not used a calculator once since I graduated college. Like a physical one. I've like, done quick maths on like the
Quick maths.
on the right on the computer the computer calculator on Windows or whatever, but I haven't like physically pulled out a calculator in a long time. Because it turns out when you're not an engineer or somebody who needs to do complex mathematics, you don't really have the need for a calculator all that often.
I mostly spent my time with my TI-83 writing programs to do my math homework for me.
There you go.
Which, of course, was a perfect way to do it because it both demonstrated that I understood the algorithm that you needed to do in order to solve the problem correctly, and eventually did it for me.
Yep.
Which, of course, my teachers didn't want me to do on my test, so I showed all my work and everything, but I used the program to make sure I did it right.
Yeah. So you were sort of providing yourself a solution book, more or less, to make sure you're on the right track.
just a method of checking.
Yeah.
Really. But yeah, it turns out after you get out of high school level math, they expect you to know all that, and the stuff they want you to learn.
What they don't tell you.
The high school stuff's just going to get in the way of, so use your calculator, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no need to do long division on this.
When you're already
You don't need to do integrals by hand. Just have your calculator solve them.
That just causes problems. It's too bad there isn't an easy-to-use chemistry calculator. Because chemistry math is all kinds of weird.
Yeah,
I found chemistry math a lot less complicated. There's more like steps. There's more to remember. But like the math itself was basically just algebra.
Right. The math itself was fine, but the way like chemistry equations are laid out is just like difficult to translate what you're actually trying to calculate. At least
It's not just things being even; it's what kind of things being even.
Yep. And it was determined by what what chemicals you were working with, what compounds, and their their positivity or negativity, X, Y, Z, like that type of thing. So I'm glad I only had to do Chem 1.
I mean, it's elementary math. I mean, if you do anything chemically, you'd have to bring it up periodically.
I forgot how to laugh.
We'll table this for now, I guess.
Oh my gosh. At
Hey,
this
I'm just doing this to get a reaction. You know that, right?
Over time, I've just sort of reached equilibrium with your, being able to withstand your jokes.
I think you've picked up my my sense of humor by osmosis.
Mm.
I'm over my boiling point with this whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really taking the energy out of the situation.
None of it really matters.
I could really go for an avocado right now, though.
Oh, yeah.
A number of them, even.
Yeah. Yeah.
6.02 times 10 to the 23rd or something like that.
Yeah. There's a
Something
couple
like
moles I might need to get checked.
Yeah. I was working on how to make that into a joke. It just wasn't landing.
Yep.
Just like, how did...
Better, if I get too annoyed with these puns, I might start to get viscous.
I think you're testing the bonds of our friendship.
You might even incorporate some formula units, if you know what I mean.
If we go on for too long, we'll probably start repeating ourselves with carbon copies of the same jokes over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we actually going to move the conversation on, or are we trying to come up with more chemistry jokes?
I think we have run out.
We've
of
run
readily
this dry.
available chemistry jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll no longer be acting as an agent for further joking, and we can move along with this this conversation. Anyway.
I'm just.
I mean, when you think about it, a lot of those puns were pretty basic, so we should probably move on.
Indeed.
How are we doing, guys? I mean,
we have. It has been so long since we last.
I know,
recorded.
yeah,
indeed.
2 whole days since we last recorded.
Days.
But as far as the audience is concerned, it's been almost a week. No, a week.
It has been a week.
Not much different.
But not much.
I guess by the time this podcast airs, we will see if we will have survived John's 50-turn House of
Mario Party.
Mario Party. We'll see how that goes.
That will be interesting. I have decided to take up a new mindset about Mario Party.
Nothing matters. Screw everything.
Well, no, I'm going to actively try to lose.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make it my purpose to lose, and when you're on my team, well, it sucks to be you, because I'm going to make sure you lose too to keep me from winning anything.
Just reverse psychology.
Exactly, because if I try to not win, then I'll probably end up winning because that game only wants to disappoint me.
You're going down. We are on the same team. You're going down.
Down.
Going down swinging. Fallout Boy. Not a very good game. Compared to. Okay, that wasn't. That's it.
No, it wasn't.
My joke brain is fried at this point. It was a very long, slow day at work.
I see.
But yeah.
Do you think we're ever going to do Fallout on the podcast? Or was there not quite enough meat on that bone? Well, 4 in particular.
There's enough meat in this series.
That I played Fallout 4.
New Vegas, I haven't played, but I've heard is the most story dense.
That's the one I'm most interested in trying.
Fallout 3 and New Vegas are like the two that people love the most, as I understand it.
They were kind of disappointed by Fallout 4.
And then 76 happened.
And then 76 was a complete train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although now apparently Starfield is finally
on its
happening. I mean, it was happening forever and ever, but now it's gonna
actually
happen.
Happening.
Which I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I don't know, 1,500 planets or whatever he said.
Gamer Grandma
not
wants
all
to
of
play
those
Skyrim
can be good.
No.
Gamer Grandma wants to play the next Skyrim before she dies, according to GameSpot.com. Just a random headline.
Unless they're like Super Mario Galaxy planets.
Right.
In which case, then it would be feasible.
That'd be kind of funny. Well, I imagine they'll probably do whatever it is, whatever sort of black magic No Man's Sky does.
Procedural generation.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make for the most intentional or interesting level design.
Yeah.
Typically.
Although, like, you have to
But with the sort of game that you're after with Skyrim, like, those kinds of huge open world things, I'm totally cool with that. Just like having some pre-designed levels and some procedurally generated stuff.
Sure, it's like the main story planets are like intentional, but then like there's the little incidental ones where it's just like, hey, this guy wants to pay you to collect 15 things.
Yep.
Because that's what a lot of the quests consist of anyway.
Right.
So why design them manually if you can, have it
just algorithmically churn them out?
It's interesting because most open world games have like the entire world is like designed, intentionally. Now you might have some copy paste buildings here and there and assets
or some
and
just
stuff like that.
Shortcut terrain stuff, but then it's massaged into a shape they want.
Mm-hmm. I would say that, I suppose in the level, like, I'd say on the high end of the detail spectrum with open world games, you have, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption, Fallout, to an extent, Witcher 3. And then on the low end, you have like your Just Cause or, I guess what's another, what's the Far Cry? It wasn't. I don't know. I didn't
think Far Cry's like at least the first few weren't open world.
Yeah, the Far Cry 5 was open world. I don't know. I haven't played any of the original games, but I mean there were some areas and stuff that were interesting, but it was all very copy paste. Sort of blow up this base, move on to the next one.
Elden Ring looks like it's more on the intentionally designed side. Because FromSoft be that way.
Yeah.
That is how the FromSoft do.
And
they have, like, in my limited time playing it, they have, like, the open world stuff, but they also have, like, more classic Souls-like areas.
So, like, little dungeons peppering the
kind
landscape?
Kind of dungeony. Yeah, so it's like, this is more of your classic Souls game zone that has kind of your branching paths, but you can still
and
kind of
intentionally placed enemies just to mess with you.
Right. Which a lot of the open world stuff just can't do because it's so open.
Because if you can see them from a mile away, there's no way they're going to pop up from around a corner to stab you and be a total meanie pants.
From the little I've seen of Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, it seems like it's less open world and more just one giant level with some levels in between.
There's not much for this. Like I understand that you think there's kind of a distinction there, but like
right. It makes sense. Well, you just have like a giant, like there's not like different biomes or anything like that. It's all pretty uniform.
But like,
just go from one
essentially,
thing to the next.
An open world is one large level,
right?
But yeah, there's not like discrete areas or whatever that you feel like it's more broken up.
It feels like because in some of the Halo games, like the maps are just enormous, and it just feels like sort of that mindset less than they're trying to build a world because you're on a Halo ring. There's you and a bunch of enemy bases that you have to get through. So there's not really a ton. Like you
Yeah.
don't have towns and like markets you can like buy gear and different things like that.
Well, that's not the vibe Halo goes for.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not like that. It's not really an RPG. So, co-op I hear is coming at some point. So I guess if it ever goes on sale, I'd be willing to pick that up and try it out. I have some ideas for whenever we get to playing Halo, Nathan, that I floated by John and for co-op and stuff. I think would be kind of fun. But we'll have you stay tuned on that.
So is it something that you're gonna keep me in the dark about and then spring on me as I'm playing, or is it?
It's more of a it's more of an approach to playing it that I have
see.
in mind that could be kind of fun. So stay tuned. But speaking of staying tuned, we're the Palladium Papists. I'm James.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Riley.
Is this a gregarious game? No.
No, it's
No,
not.
this
No,
is a
Super
super
Serial.
serial this week on Demon Slayer.
One day, 3 lads from North Dakota were bitten by a radioactive television, and with their powers combined, they are Super Serial!
Not to be confused with Doom
Not to be confused with Doom Slayer.
or Demon Hunter.
They are highly thematically different and aesthetically different, and the only thing that they really have in common is that demons are being slain.
And the main character wears green
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Sometimes he just wears black.
Okay, but he's
'Cause
got
that's
that
the uniform.
large coat poncho thing, right?
Yes,
green?
that is green.
With way too many buttons.
And it's like a flannel.
Pointy for some reason.
Yep. I mean, he's a lumberjack who makes charcoal, so
Oh,
it makes
okay.
sense that he has a flannel.
Aha.
All right, so who's our flannel boy?
Flannel Boy's name is Tanjiro, and Tanjiro is a young man, probably 15 or 16 or so.
Sounds like a flannel boy.
Sounds like a Flannel Boy, living in the mountains in
Sounds like me minus
Late.
the mountains.
late 19th century Japan. So sounds like a Flannel Boy. And he goes out one day. Well, we have a few scenes of him with his family, and it's a nice, loving family. They've got a bajillion kids, classic. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But things are not going to remain so happy. As
Actually,
well,
this is an anime.
this is
so
Anaheim. You can't have a dad,
You can't have a protagonist with both parents living. What?
Heroes gonna journey.
especially not a shonen.
No.
The only exception to which is Bleach, because he has both of his parents. But
Is
that's
one of
neither
them
here
evil?
nor there. No,
Okay.
that's neither here nor there. So Tanjiro goes into town to sell the charcoal that they've made, and comes back, and his whole family has been murdered. All of them. Except for his
That's not
sister,
okay.
Nezuko. And she has grown some long fingernails, and her teeth are considerably sharper than...
And he's been
They
gone
had
for
previously
an
been.
afternoon.
Huh?
He's been gone for an afternoon.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes in the house and finds all of his family members dead, and his sister Nezuko is turned into a demon. And this is bad news, because obviously being a demon kind of makes you lose control of yourself and have the desire to eat humans and all that good stuff, or rather bad stuff. And Nezuko's going a little bit wild and crazy because, of course, demon. And this is bad, but she sort of has a hold on herself, which is kind of uncommon. Because normally, a fresh demon is kind of very uncontrollable. So
Rather feral.
very soon, a demon slayer shows up to take care of Nezuko, but
And by
Tanjiro puts
take
up a
care
big fight.
of the.
By we mean eliminate. Yes.
Right.
Giyu is Giyu the water boy.
So you have Flannel Boy and Water Boy.
Flannel boy, water boy, and demon girl. So
Where's
far.
Off
This
to a
is-
great start.
This sounds like the weird sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
When does Torso Boy show up?
When does George Lopez show up in a spacesuit or whatever?
Hey,
on the
Space Boy.
screen? Space Boy. We do have several iterations of Michael Jackson in this thing, so
no.
stay tuned for that.
Delightful.
So, Tanjiro puts up a good fight, defends his sister to the point that Giyu is willing to be like, why are you going so hard to defend this demon? Like, you know that the demon is just evil now. Demons are evil. We know this. He's like, no, she's my sister. I'll figure out a way to cure her. No one's ever done it. That's not possible. But I believe.
Sounds
And
like the
see-
beginning of an anime.
It does. And by this point, like,
I'll figure out how to get your
found-
body back, brother. I
Yep.
mean, sister.
they found like a bamboo thing that she can bite into that like helps her not be so crazy. So that's kind of life. Things have
Makes
stabilized.
you wonder
a
what
bit.
pandas would be like without bamboo.
Who knows what would happen to our society?
Nothing good.
So now we have our very necessary shonen training arc where
Of course.
Tanjiro goes and decides to become a demon slayer so he can have access to the knowledge that he will need in order to cure
So
his sister.
do those episodes just start with them on their way to do the next training thing where it sort of sets everything up, does the training thing, and finishes with it after a battle?
No,
Oh,
not quite. Sort of, but not quite.
gotcha.
But Tanjiro learns the water style of, well, the power system in this shebang is breathing. You breathe a certain way, and that makes your sword styles operate differently.
Interesting.
So he learns the water breathing because that's what Giyu knows.
Does he have
And
gills?
no, he does not. It doesn't actually change you, like
Oh,
It's just the flow.
it's just the flow of and like the movements of the fighting style.
okay.
So the water is very fluid and graceful.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Whereas
breathe
like
very
other
fluid.
styles we encounter kind of more
Elementals,
embody
earth, wind, and
those.
fire.
It's not just elementals, there's more stuff, but
Does anybody learn grass breathing?
I don't think we've run into someone who does grass breathing yet, but there's love breathing. There's like I forget what.
Best weed in the South Farthing.
Yeah. So yeah, there's all kinds of different breathing. Anyway,
Like the
Slam
whole
the table.
Oh crap! Smacked the microphone.
as is typical for a shonen protagonist, he's very bad at the thing when he first starts out, and has
I
a
just
very
gotta
hard
try
time.
harder.
Just gotta train
Go
more.
beyond.
Gotta be better.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, hold on. What?
Oh no, just like Nathan said, the try harder line. Yeah, wait a minute. That sounds familiar.
And so, because Nezuko is not, consuming human, she's kind of hibernating in a box because the sun is dangerous to demons. So Tanjiro carries her around in a box because she can, for whatever reason, like shrink and grow at will. She shrinks
makes
into
sense.
a
Sounds about right.
backpackable box.
Nice.
So he goes through his training arc, gets his Demon Slayer sword, does his kind of trial, and in which he has to stay alive in the demon forest until morning. And there's this there's this one demon who is like the big shot demon in the forest. And he eats all the other, basically anything that he comes across. He just slurps it up into him and is a big, fat, gelatinous blob.
So it's like Slither.io, but demons.
But demons and any organic matter one
I
can
see.
find. And Tanjiro, of course, knowing that all demons were at one point humans, 'cause that's how it works, has a certain degree of compassion for the situation of the demon, who is very kind of set in his ways, as the demons tend to be, because they don't really change. They don't grow old, they don't like need sleep. They just have this desire to consume human. So the demons are kind of static personality-wise, but Tanjiro kind of understands the plight that they're in and that has compassion for them, even as he's fighting to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts the big demon out of his misery with some consternation, and only a few people pass the trial that time around, as is somewhat typical. And everyone else has obviously D'd.
Uh-huh.
So he is now officially part of the Demon Slayer Corps and goes to meet, gets his first mission from his pet raven that everyone gets.
Ooh. You'll get a raven, he'll give you a message, and you'll be bloody pleased about it.
And along the way, we meet his primary companions, the first of whom is Zenitsu, who is a very cowardly and kind of immature young guy who seems to be extraordinarily incompetent. Like, doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to go out of his way to do anything, really, and is generally too timid to be doing the job. And everyone wonders how exactly it is that he passed the trial in the first place.
What's this guy doing here?
So
They just survived by running away.
perhaps he's kind of just Pikachu boy because he does thunder breathing. And we also meet Inosuke, who is not really part of the Demon Slayer Corps. He's just kind of his own thing. But he has these kind of serrated swords that are very cool. And he has beast breathing because he wears a big old boar head on his head.
Wow.
And like boar fur pants. So
Okay.
Inosuke and he's very loud, always wants to fight, kind of aggressive wild animal personified.
Kind of boorish.
Boorish, you might say.
Uh-huh.
So those are his main companions for the bulk of the story so far. So now we have some introductions to kind of the big bad of the series, Muzan Kibutsuji, aka Michael Jackson.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I mean, you just Google images, like, you'll see the Michael Jackson. It's very hard to miss. At any rate, Muzan, a long time ago, the legends say, had something happened. He became the progenitor of demons and is, of course, very old, so he has accumulated a lot of power. And he's kind of the one who makes new demons.
Oh,
So it must necessarily be the case that he was the one who attacked
That's definitely
the
Michael Jackson.
Komodo family that night.
I see.
So now we know that he is going to be the enemy and the one we're looking for.
He's
to
bad.
fight.
You're the antagonist,
He's
aren't
bad.
you?
He's bad.
Bad.
He's really, really bad.
Really bad.
Stop it. That's
The
ignorant.
whole world knows he's bad and he's proud. So let him tell you once again.
Too
Who's
many
bad?
people coming up to my wishing tree. Okay.
Anyway,
Blanket?
he has like 12 lieutenants who are the upper and lower moons, the top 6 and next 6 respectively.
So,
They're
so you have
the
like
mini bosses of the series working his way
The
up
mini
to him.
bosses that he works his way up
so you
to,
have
yes.
second lieutenant, a first lieutenant, second lieutenant, third lieutenant, and
Fourth lieutenant, fifth lieutenant,
Yep.
sixth lieutenant.
down the line.
None of that major and captain stuff.
No, it's all they're all lieutenants of different
just-
varying degrees.
Numbers.
I'm the 12th lieutenant. Is that even a thing? Just go with it,
is
okay?
Now.
I'm a mini boss. Don't question it.
It does in late 19th century Japan.
There we go.
But anyway, these demons have like a greater share of Muzan's blood than do the rest, and it is hypothesized by some people that Tanjiro encounters that it's possible to use his blood to concoct a cure.
Mm-hmm.
If you collect a sufficiently powerful demon blood, a cure might be able to be found. So that's the main goal that we have established. Fight upper rank demons and extract their blood with syringes, and hopefully that will be enough to get a cure.
Listen through all of the 30 Seconds to Mars albums in hopes of finding the cure.
Did Michael Jackson and The Cure ever collab?
I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean,
they kind of do very different kinds of music, but yes.
Lumberjack,
Flannel
Boy versus Michael Jackson featuring The Cure.
With the intro solo by Prince.
Who exactly would Train Boy be? I don't know. Maybe Train.
I like trains.
Train, but that's much later.
You just, hey, Soul Sister slowly builds in the background. Gosh, I hate Train. Anyway.
They weren't that bad.
He's on a team with Beastie Boys.
They were just very kind of standard, mediocre, late 2000s pop.
Yeah.
Nothing special, nothing hate-worthy.
Well, I used to hear my neighbor buddy's older sister blasting it all the way from over at their house, all the time. One summer,
and you were a good yard away from them, country front yard.
It's probably about I don't know, from our house to theirs,
like a full city block almost.
Yeah, so it was pretty loud. Anyway, so I just moving on.
So
Flannel Boy and the
Flannel Boy
crew
is
fighting
going off
Michael Jackson.
into his next assignment, which is to deal with these. There are rumors of a lower 6 demon inhabiting this forest, and so he's sent to the forest to go take care of it. With Zenitsu, and Inosuke decides to tag along.
Naturally.
So they fight some progressively harder demons, and they beat this gigantic one, and they're like, oh, whoosh, we finally, that was tough, but we took out an upper 11 demon, and then this kid that they saw earlier is like, psych, I'm the real one.
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
Dun. He's very powerful. They have a tough time with him, but he also has a sad backstory.
Oh.
Naturally.
Because
Does he monologue while telling it, or is it a flashback?
It's more of a flashback.
More of a flashback? Okay.
Yes. And his whole family is dysfunctional and sad, and, all Rui ever wanted was to be loved and have a nice
Does he
family.
start touching things and they disintegrate, or?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
We're not.
He doesn't have an itch that just can't.
No,
be
he can't.
scratched.
He can't stop scratching.
Yeah.
He doesn't tape hands all over his face. He just is a spidery demon.
Ah.
I see. But
Yeet.
after his tragic backstory, they end up beating him?
After his tragic backstory, they end up beating him.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Does he die?
And yes.
Okay.
It's kind of their whole thing is slaying demons.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's only one they haven't managed to yet, and she's in a box on the main character's backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Ease.
Niels.
So now, in the course of that, we meet one of the other Hashira, who are like the top 12 or top 10 or whatever. I think it's 10.
Top 10 demons from Demon Slayer.
Top 10 Demon
Number
Slayers
5 will
from Demon
surprise
Slayer.
Oh, it's Demon Slayers. Okay.
Of which Giyu is one. The guy we met earlier.
Okay.
We meet insect-breathing lady, who
Ooh.
Not the bees.
Bug breath.
butterfly breath.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, she has more of a butterfly aesthetic.
So does she get like those in her stomach often, or?
One might think.
Okay.
I see.
But she rescues Zenitsu, who's having a rough go of it, as he often does. And she senses Nezuko. And she's like, "Demon, you boy, you have a demon." And he's like, "Yes, but she's a nice
bring
demon."
Great evil here.
And she's like, "Yeah, right, of course, yeah, gotcha. Demons, there aren't any of good ones of those, and you know that. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill her now." And he's like, "Please don't." She's like, "Too bad. I'm going to anyway." So she attempts to. Giyu stops her, and Nezuko shrinks and runs away. And there's a fantastic series of memes on YouTube. Nezuko Run. There's like 3 of them. They're set to like different Initial D songs.
Oh, okay.
They're just
Deja
great.
vu as she runs away.
Running in the 90s, you know. That good stuff.
Yep. That's great.
So, yeah.
Dirt, run. Dirt.
So after that, they're like, okay, we better take these kids in to the boss and see what he would have us do.
Sure
We
thing,
meet
boss.
we meet all the rest of the Hashira. They're all jerks to a one. They're all just completely terrible people. Because the people in their late teens are just objectively mean. That's how it's got to be.
Fact check.
Absolutely.
True.
But the wise master with the, I don't even know how to explain. He's like the other Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Okay.
So there is perhaps
So
some
like
subtle
Jackson 5
insinuation.
Michael Jackson, or?
I forget what his name is. So you can't look it up, but Kaguya Ubashashi is his name.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this kid has like lived through Muzan, so there's probably something to it. So let's cool our jets and not kill the kid. Hey, cool.
Cool.
And that's kind of the end of the origin story. There's more. There's a couple other arcs after that, but they would take a while to explain and are functionally very formulaic.
Sure.
And we've kind of got what we need to establish like the main themes and interest of the
Kind
work.
of the second act filler.
Have we?
Well, it's not really filler because like things are progressing, but it's also like you know exactly what's going to happen before it happens.
Sure.
It's just how they overcome their challenges that is interesting, and the sort of stories of the demons they're fighting is what makes it interesting.
So
Because
have they taken out any of the top 12 lieutenants, or are they still working their way
at
up
the
to
end of the entertainment district arc, they do.
Okay, so they're 1 down, 11 to go before big
Well,
bad
they'll
Michael Jackson.
they'll continue to be replaced.
Oh, okay.
But they're just trying to collect blood
Right.
For the cure.
for the cure.
But by the point we are in the series now, we're no closer to a Nezuko cure.
Not
She's
really.
just chilling in the back of the box, occasionally running away.
And coming out and fighting because she can do that now.
Oh, okay.
Huh. We got one of them on our
But she
side.
occasionally goes kind of crazy and has to be reined in.
Aha.
And
Hey there,
becomes
big guy. It's sun's getting real low.
and like grows into adult size because
Because.
Because
reasons.
of the wonderful things she does.
Da. We're up to see the Jackson.
So does Flannel Boy learn any other breathing styles either?
Well,
Or is
normally the thing is that one simply doesn't learn more than one
someone
breathing
simply
style.
doesn't.
One does not do that, but
I don't know.
he
I
does.
kind of figured. Okay, I figured being a shonen protagonist, he'd be like the avatar of multiple breathing styles at some point.
So
Gotta do
the
multiple
water
training arcs.
breathing is not like his natural breathing style,
Sure.
which is why he has a hard time with it. We find out over the course of time that his dad was the proprietor of the rare sun breathing technique.
Sun breathing.
No, it's not
Did what?
sun. It's fire. It's fire.
Fire.
Is that how they made
So
charcoal?
Was that just his excuse of for drinking alcohol and then spitting it out?
Perhaps. But he learns was it fire or flame? He works with the flame
Through
guy.
the fire and the flames we carry on. So many music references today. First chemistry, now music.
I bet you some people wish it was 101. Anyway,
So he works with the fire Hashira in the Kill the Demon Train arc.
Uh-huh.
But he's like,
don't
I don't know, I do
go
flame,
riding
not
on
fire.
that
Those are different things.
demon train. Anyway,
So he's like, maybe you can check out these obscure books that we have in my house and see if that helps. By which he eventually learns to do that breathing.
victory in the sword.
In the sword I see.
Can't concentrate today. It's bad.
Yeah, it's been one of those kind of days for me too.
So
Sad
I've got to
but
hold this
true.
together, and I haven't even seen the show.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Alrighty then.
Sad but true.
But yes, it takes a lot out of him to do the fire breathing
Sure.
because it's just one of those styles that is inherently going to consume things because it's fire.
Sure.
And you might
So it's
accidentally-
ridiculously powerful, but also like very exhausting.
And you never know.
Yes.
You might like spill like some of the propellant or the fuel out of your mouth
The
and like, light your face
avgas.
on fire at a camping trip or something. Not referring to anyone specifically that we know or anything.
Nope.
Was he wearing
No.
flannel at the time?
Mm,
I don't think
no.
he ever has.
No, he was wearing a black T-shirt, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably-
That's more typical of him.
Anyway,
Carl, if you're listening, and we know you are.
how's that face feeling? He was okay eventually.
He was all right.
Not for the rest of that trip though. He was not okay.
I don't know if he's ever been okay.
Fair enough.
Fair point. Anyway,
Anyway.
so that is theorized as a probable reason why his family was targeted by Muzan. Because
Oh, sure, because fire breathing is just
'Cause
that
it's-
powerful
it's
against
not
demons.
good.
A particular threat.
Neat.
But they didn't kill the protagonist, and oh boy, is that going to be bad news for the bad guy.
Well, that's the thing. When you're the bad guy in a show, you try and take out your biggest problem. You end up creating your biggest enemy.
Yep.
That is how that do.
You shouldn't have messed with my family.
yep.
Yup. So I guess that's
That's
You've
kind of
summarized
the
the first major
irrelevant information.
and some extra.
There's
bits on
there's
the
a whole
side.
big arc, two relatively larger arcs after that, but they are, like I said, they explore the backstories of some different demons and how they kind of the people who become demons are generally those who are like outcasts. Those
Sure,
are the sorts
sure.
of people that Muzan approaches. And people who are
sort of
desperate.
people who it's easy to convince to get revenge on
Yeah.
the world type of a thing.
Social commentary much?
That kind of thing. And so he exploits these kind of unstable people.
Just like Michael
Because-
Jackson. Anyway.
They will be more.
Yikes. That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
That is a yikes for me, dog.
Anyway, so
He
but
exploits these unstable people that he knows will become powerful tools in his power-seeking quest. Because that's kind of, as far as we can tell, his only motivation is to be the
And-
biggest, baddest guy on the block.
those are just the guys he turns into as bosses, right? Not necessarily all the little demons or all the fodder, right? Because like you got Nezuko, who is there any indication she was kind of an outcast within her own family, or
Well,
have
this
some
was
kind of-
not done intentionally. Nezuko
Okay,
was
sure.
supposed
It was
to
a
have
side
been
effect
killed.
of the attack.
So
a demon? She's supposed to be dead.
I see.
yeah, that was an accident on Muzan's part,
Okay.
which could very well end up being his downfall because Nezuko's pretty strong.
Ooh.
She
strong
has
girl.
directly been given Muzan's blood. I think like the other subordinate demons can also like give their blood to people to make them demons too.
But it kind of
But
waters down the effectiveness.
It waters down.
Sure. You gotta get it straight from Michael Jackson if you wanna be like ridiculously powerful.
Yep. If you want to lean super steep.
Well, okay, I think it's about cool things time, right?
Yeah, it is about cool things.
Is the show ongoing?
Yes, it's quite ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we haven't reached the terminus yet, although I imagine some showdown is
I think the manga's ending soon. So
and I imagine we are several volumes behind in terms of the anime
yes,
versus
we
manga.
are. We are quite a few volumes behind.
generally the way it goes.
It has
Look.
kind of a pretty fast pace compared to other shonen things of its kind.
That's good.
Because we went from kind of square one to fighting the top 6 in like one season. So
How long has Demon Slayer been running?
The manga or
the show
The
has
show.
been running since 2018.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
I've
was
heard
the
it's
first
pretty
season of the
good.
show and then a pretty big movie that covered the Mugen Train arc and then a kind of shortened season for the entertainment district.
Gotcha.
So we're 2 seasons and a movie into this.
So basically 3 seasons.
Right. Neat.
When you get down to it.
Yeah. So the main cool thing is like Tanjiro's compassion in the face of like abject evil. He has this sympathy for the demon's plight because generally speaking they were born out of suffering and whatever other ills, whatever form that took.
Typically
Social
something they fell
outcast.
into versus something they actively chose.
Right.
It's like nobody
And
but Michael
maybe they
Jackson is
chose
pure
it because
evil.
they were in a place of vulnerability and like needed a way to protect people they care about, which was the case for both Rui in the spidery forest and the 2 siblings in the entertainment district. They took on those powers in order to protect each other, and they kind of only cared about their family because no one else had ever looked out for them.
Sure.
And Tanjiro can see all that and is inclined to sympathize with those circumstances that have brought those people to that place. Even though they are mostly irredeemable because they have been in this state for a long time
Sure.
and are so ingrained in that habit that they're not likely to ever leave it. And he does his best to put them out of their misery as painlessly as he can. So he's a very good character because he's not super OP. He's not, kind of a whiny edgelord. He's just a very sincere kid who is trying to take care of his family and recognizes that often enough most other people are just trying to take care of their family too.
He's got his own demons to deal with.
In a manner of speaking.
In a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
Yee.
Well, shall we get into the analysis of the show thus far?
We can't yet.
Truth. What are some truths we can find in Demon Slayer?
Family.
Family.
It's about family. There's a ton of just family themes across the whole show.
Sure, between Tanjiro and Nezuko being actually family and him taking care of her, but also the kind of found family with the demon hunter group he's with. And also, it sounds like several of the major boss demons
The difficult sacrifices they made for the sake of family.
And the difficult family situation that the Flame Hashira has. He is kind of a abusive dad who is one of those overly strict, has way too high expectations of his kid kind of thing. So, yeah, it just talks about family themes a lot and the way those dynamics play out and what it can cause people to do when they are in a position of vulnerability.
Yeah, your family like informs a lot of how you behave and how you react to the world.
I suppose, and then that I find it interesting, that point of like demons coming from people who are sort of like evil entering into victims of circumstance at first because they're deprived of the good that they should have had. It sort of leaves them more susceptible.
Mm-hmm.
So the influence of greater evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the influence of Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Which is something by no means uncommon. I'd say very common in the world today. When you look at, people with like criminal histories and stuff, like nobody's born a criminal or nobody's born like a psychopath or anything.
You're a victim first before you choose to be a criminal, typically.
On some level, yeah.
Yeah, at some level.
And so it's, that evil entering in and making things way worse because of that vacuum left in your life where the good should have been. I find that to be an interesting point. And that's kind of, that reality is sort of reflected in Flannel Boy's the way he treats the demons, I suppose, kind of acknowledging that pain and that suffering that brought them here.
Even though they've been in the cycle for so long that it's
right. They're still like
impossible to
participating in it. Like they still have agency. Like they've sort of given in to this evil that now controls their lives, but at the same time sort of acknowledging the humanity of their struggle that led them to this point.
And also willing to give them a clean death so they don't have to suffer.
Because at that point, that's really all he can do until they get enough blood to find a cure. And even then, would it actually cure people who have been in it that long?
Yep.
Would they be willing
would they even
to
be,
take
would
it?
they even want to be cured, right?
If you were, say, to be able to try and cure the Green Goblin, would it really work?
Yeah, that kind of a thing.
Audibly eyebrow raising. I guess any other truths we can talk about from Demon Slayer?
That's kind of the main
Don't let
global
them influence
one.
your life.
Yeah.
There are more individual ones across the different arcs, but it would take a while.
Sure, just generally speaking, yeah.
To explain those things.
Goodness. We talked about...
Flannel Boy's good.
Yeah.
Flannel Boy and Nezuko are both very good. Zenitsu and Inosuke, for all their faults, are also very good.
They sound like bros when push comes to shove.
Yes, and they have their personality flaws, but they have good hearts and want to do the right thing.
They have to work past them in order to be a good team and support each other, and they do.
Yes, Zenitsu, as it turns out, has one move that he is extremely good at. And
that's the one he spammed in order to pass the trial, or what?
Yeah, it's just an extremely fast, powerful strike that is unavoidable. But he can only do it when he's passed out.
Huh.
Oh.
So it's a very interesting dynamic, but so he has to lose his consciousness of his worry in order to be useful.
Gotcha.
In order to achieve his purpose.
He's got to enter his flow state.
And also, he's very much a Nezuko simp.
Uh-huh.
I see.
That might be why he's sticking around.
Uh-huh.
It's like, hey, if we can get you cured.
And, yeah. A lot of the Hashira come around, and you start to see their softer sides as they mentor the kids. You know, as they spend time around Nezuko and see that she's willing to be docile, but also fight other demons when the time comes. That really makes an impression on them, and they're like, maybe this kid isn't so bad.
Maybe this whole cure thing, there's something to it.
There's hope for you yet. Beauty was beautiful in Demon Slayer.
I'd say it's the best animation that has ever been done. Like, it does incorporate a fair amount of CGI, but it's done in very much the kind of thick outlined cartoon style that Demon Slayer has. So it composites extremely well.
That's the thing about 3D animation and 2D animated things. It's like sometimes it can stick out like a sore thumb, like the lighting's completely different and the outlining's completely different. It's like, why did you put that there? Unless that's your stylistic choice, and even then, that's weird. But if you take great care to like make everything match up and composite well, you can have some great effects. Like when we were talking about Iron Giant, they did that really well.
Yep. And I was watching a video where they were doing like an animation breakdown of Klaus, and there was like some moments in there I was like, oh, that was 3D animated? I had no idea. So yeah, there are ways in which that can be done well. So sounds like this is a Kaishi.
Some high quality stuff.
They just really spend the time to make it technically shine. And because the story is sort of predictable, like, it's not exactly generic because it's quite different from anything else, but it is quite predictable. You're gonna fight a big bad demon, he's gonna have a sad backstory, you're gonna beat him and get some blood. Like, that's how every arc plays out. How exactly it happens, what happens to the Hashira as they go, that they're
point A,
accompanying.
you know point B, everything
Who knows?
in the middle
What happens in the middle is what's fun. So, it kind of has to be really spectacular to make an impression. But it does that very, very well.
Awesome.
Cool. Unity, what brings everything together?
Sounds
where
like
my demons hide. It's where my demons hide.
Whoa, the misery.
Music references, that's what's bringing it all together.
Music references brings it all together. I think it is just the theme of family, at least so far.
It sounds like
at least the insinuation between the lead of the Demon Slayer Corps and Muzan, there's obviously some kind of connection between them.
Sure.
Which further kind of reinforces that theme.
It also seems like the main plot element driving everything is Tanjiro trying to find enough blood to get a cure for Nezuko. Who is
his only surviving family.
And so it's that family that family element you brought up earlier, as well as Tanjiro's compassion and desire to bring healing or that kind of a thing.
Rest for wearied demon.
To be a spiritual physician, as it were.
In a sense, yes.
As we've been talking about at IPF.
I see.
Along with relationship identity mission.
Oh boy.
Which is another thing that Tanjiro exemplifies.
Oh.
Because of his familial relationships, he derives his identity as a protector and a brother. From which comes his mission of slaying demons.
Being a protector brother.
So, Tanjiro's a good reminder for IPF.
He passes the rim test.
He does. Not the mirror. You don't want to be a mirror.
Yeah.
You don't want your identity to come from what you do.
You got it all twisted.
Form your relationships.
That makes sense. Well, anything to add?
Nope.
Alrighty then. Well, thanks for listening to the Palladium Papists. You can listen to us on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Please leave a rating to let us know what you think of the show, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Pal Papists. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, or suggestions for future episodes, email us at palladiumpapists@gmail.com. And we will talk to you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.